You're welcome to today's lesson. The lesson for today is on unwise decision of Solomon and Rehoboam. Prior to this class, I have explained the decision making of Solomon, how Solomon asked for wisdom from God, how he built a magnificent temple for God, how he uttered 1,005 songs and wrote 3,000 proverbs. Solomon lived a fulfilled life. In spite of Solomon's good beginning, before long he became distracted because of his loose living. He disobeyed God by marrying many foreign wives. He allowed his foreign wives to come into Israel with their foreign gods, and as a result he was now distracted from the service of God. God became angry with Solomon and told him he would take the kingdom from him and give it to his servants. Solomon became reluctant to let go of the kingdom. When he discovered that God has chosen Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, he made an attempt to kill Jeroboam. But Jeroboam fled to Egypt and stayed in Egypt until the death of Solomon. In his later years, his apostasy and weakness as a king created for him internal and external enemies. Hadad, the Edomites, regained some Edomite territory from Solomon. Don't forget that David was a man of war and he won so many territory in Canaan and outside Canaan. Edomites, or the Edom, was part of the territory that was won by King David, and the Edomite used to pay tribute to the king of Israel. But Hadad the Edomites regained these Edomite territories from King Solomon. Solomon also lost 20 cities as payments to the king of Tyre, Hiram. I told you about how the king of Tyre, who was a friend of his father David, helped him in bringing cedars from Lebanon to Solomon for his building project. His building of the temple, the king's palace, Megiddo, Solomon made use of building materials in his temple building, in his projects in Milo and Megiddo. And what so? Solomon overtasked the subjects and forced labor upon them, especially the northerners. This action dissipated the economy of Israel and created dissatisfaction against the house of David, especially Solomon. These are some of the remote reasons for the division of the kingdom. After the death of Solomon, Rehoboam, his son, went to Shechem for his coronation. When he got to Shechem, the elders sent delegates to him and said to him, "Your father made our yoke heavy. Therefore, lighten the hard service of your father, and we will serve you." Having heard this, Rehoboam requested that they should give him 3 days and come back thereafter for his reply. The people complied. The leader of the delegation was no other person than Jeroboam, the son of Nebat. Rehoboam became confused. He went to meet his father's advisors, who told him to listen to the people's requests. But he did not take the advice of the elders or of his fatherhood advisors. Rather, he went to meet his age mates, who advised him to increase the burden of the people. And when the third day came, the people of Israel, the delegates led by Jeroboam, came to meet the king Rehoboam. And the king spoke to them according to the counsel of the young men of his age mates. The reaction of the king was that he spoke to them that though his father made their yoke heavy, that he's going to add to the yoke. That though the father disciplined them with whip in punishment, he's going to discipline them with scorpion. When the people heard this statement from Rehoboam, they responded by saying, "What part have we in David? We have no inheritance in the son of Jesse. To your tent, O Israel." So the people of Israel departed to their tents. On a particular day, Rehoboam the king sent Adoram, who was the taskmaster over the first labor, to the people of Israel. When they got there to collect us, the people stoned him to death. When Rehoboam heard about this matter, he fled immediately to Jerusalem. When he got to Jerusalem, he assembled all the house of Judah and the tribe of Benjamin, 180,000 chosen warriors, to fight against the house of Israel in order to restore the kingdom to him, the son of Solomon. But the word of the Lord came to Shimei, the man of God, who spoke to Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, king of Judah, that it was God's intention that this thing should happen. And the soldiers that was already assembled dispersed. This was what led to the division of the kingdom. This is the immediate reason for the division of the kingdom. The northern kingdom was now ruled by Jeroboam, and his headquarters was in Samaria, and this kingdom was referred to as Israel. While the southern kingdom was referred to as Judah. Judah, the base was, the capital was in Jerusalem. This is to fulfill what God has spoken through his prophets, that because of David the servant, he will allow Rehoboam to retain two tribes. The two tribes were Judah and Benjamin, and the other 10 tribes were given to Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who now became the king of Israel. This led to the division of the kingdom. The kingdom of Israel, that comprises of 12 tribes, was now divided between Rehoboam and Jeroboam. As leaders, as prefects, as stakeholders in any community or society, we should learn to put the people first, because we are put into position because of the people. So the people's interest must suffice before any other interest. We should not be like Rehoboam, who refused to look at the wrong of his father and dare to listen to the counsel of his age mate, which considers situation or decisions that satisfy many people rather than a few. We should learn to be decisive in trying to bring people to limelight. We should learn to uphold unity. We should learn to sacrifice. We should learn not to overburden our followers. These are some of the lessons you have gained in this lesson. Because of Solomon and Rehoboam's action, the cause of the nation was altered, so much so that a unified nation like Israel, like the kingdom of Israel, was divided into two kingdoms in one, northern and southern kingdom. Henceforth, from this class, we're going to be looking at the different parts of the king who ruled Israel at one time or the other. So pay close attention to these different dynasties. Don't be confused about the name. Like what I said before, the kingdom of Israel was divided into two. The northern kingdom was ruled by Jeroboam, while the southern kingdom was ruled by Rehoboam. They all are descendants, though their names is almost similar, but they were not from the same kingdom. They are now referred to as the kingdom of Judah or the kingdom of Israel. Thank you. Until we meet in the next class. Bye.